All right, so if you watch my videos, you know I'm a huge fan of a lot of female drummers, especially out of Japan, because that seems to be where a lot of them come from. And I've been, really digging deep into that scene. But this is a drummer that I've been familiar of my entire life and love their music, but I've never actually watched her play live. And I just learned today that they played a concert at Budokan in Japan, meaning they were invited. They were big enough in Japan to be invited to Budokan. So I'm curious how many little girls this inspired to get into drums, because there's tons of musicians, drummers included, coming out of Japan. But I'm curious how many were inspired by Karen Carpenter, because again, they were pretty big in Japan to play at Budokan. So that's why I want to watch this. I was actually watching this concert this morning, just showing Rivers some old classics. Carpenters came on the Ed Sullivan Show, which we were watching a bunch of old Ed Sullivan Show performances, and I noticed they're lip syncing for Ed Sullivan, which I don't know why, because I watched the first 18 minutes of this, and they're so tight live. They're so good live. So it got to the point where she's behind the kit now. The beginning of this concert, she was just walking around singing, but now she's behind the kit. So I was like, I should probably film a reaction to this because it's my first time watching her actually play drums. So that's why we are where we are. And let's check this out. This is going to be the Carpenters covering the Beatles' Help. All right, let's jump into it.
W-A-V-E, write a W-A-V-E, write a W-A-V-E.
Break it down.
When I was younger, so much younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way. But now these days are gone, I'm not so selfish. Now I find I changed my mind, I've opened up the door. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down.
Oh.
I do appreciate you being right.
Wow, their harmonies are super tight. Also, they have two drummers going. I didn't know they did this. So she's got her kit out front, which is pretty monster kit. That's cool. But they also have the other drummer that was playing earlier in the show going. Interesting.
Help me get my feet back on the ground. Please help me. Please help me. I know my life's changed in so many ways. My independence seems to vanish in the haze. Now and then, so I know that I just need you like I've never done before. Help me if you can, I'm feeling down. I do appreciate you being right. Help me get my feet back on the ground. So please help me. Please help me.
Dang. She's got such a nice groove, nice pocket. So subtle. Like the way she plays her notes is very, very subtle. She doesn't hit too hard, but it makes sense because she's also singing, which it's incredibly difficult to sing and play drums at the same time because you're you're holding down a steady rhythm on the drums. And then on the vocals, you could be doing any kind of rhythm, just depends what the melody follows. So it's already a super hard balancing act to sing lead vocals and play drums at the same time. But she's also got so much subtlety, so much dynamic control over what she's doing in her snare grooves and stuff. A lot of nice ghost notes, nice riding the hi-hat. So I'm curious, she must just have this other drummer to kind of keep that solid foundation because she is singing, I suppose, and then she can do more embellishments during the song. But Yeah, because of the camera angles, I can't really tell what's going on all the time, but she's got a nice groove. It's very, very nice dynamic control. While doing these complex harmonies too. Like, what is it? Four parts? 4 or 5? Nice. Oh, that snare work is so good. You got a nice close-up of her doing it. Just those subtle little double strokes and ghost notes. Watch her snare. Ooh. Sweet drum fill there. Nice to see her having so much fun playing music. Obviously, she has a really tragic life story, but she obviously really enjoyed playing music and was super happy while she was performing and playing with her band, you know. And her brother is on the keyboards, right? I think. It's always difficult to have dual drums like this because like I've talked about in the past, when people play dual drums, getting their pockets to line up is a lot more difficult than it sounds. So for two drummers to be able to play together like this, they both have to have a super solid pocket, be very locked in to the grid, the groove of the song. Otherwise it can sound really muddy and disjointed, but this sounded really tight. That was pretty cool. I wonder what's after this. I want to hear her play an original song. Cool how they took that Beatles song though and arranged it in a way that's so Carpenters, you know, and it was kind of, you know, they made it work with the drumming. Like, they would delay one of the phrases kind of to not interfere with the end of a drum fill, you know? So clever arrangement there. All right, I'm going to see if I could find one of their original songs to watch her play drums on. Okay, the song right after Help is just perfect because on this one, Karen's playing lead drums. The other drummer is just playing tambourines, so we could hear Karen's own drums more clearly. Mr. Guder.
Mr. Guder, say, Mr. Guder, may I have a moment with you? There is something I've got to say. Please don't let it scare you away.
I love her kind of signature. It's in a lot of their songs, but it's got like a reggae feel to it, that upbeat, you know, but they've somehow turned it into their signature sound by what they surround it with and her voice too. But anyway, okay.
Mr. Guder, Mr. Guder, I have seen you go through a day. You're everything a robot was for. Walking at night and throw out the door. Why? You reflect the company image. You maintain their rules to live by. Shiny shoes, let's keep a neat haircut. Now that you're wearing a coat and tie. Mr. Guder, Mr. Guder, someday soon you may realize your life just playing a game. No one knows what
Cool bass licks.
to say.
So another thing I love about their music is the way they mix in the woodwinds with their music, you know? It's also in a lot of their sound. Ooh. Switch to traditional grip? Ooh, dude. Okay, so she was legit as heck, dude. Those double strokes were so clean, so well played. Ugh. And those fills. Like, I had no idea Karen Carpenter was such a masterful drummer, because it's always, you know, kind of covered up by her amazing voice and songwriting and harmonies and everything. But I've never heard this song before, and dang, she goes hard. I gotta see that last fill again. So clean.
You reflect the company image. You maintain your rules to live by. Shiny shoes, let's keep a neat haircut. Now that you're wearing a coat and tie. Mr. Guder, Mr. Guder, someday soon you may realize your life just playing.
Ooh, Bossa Nova? What? Bossa Nova, another one of the hardest drum patterns to play, because your kick drum is playing a completely different pattern. Like, it's basically a polyrhythm, you know? Your hands are doing something completely different than your foot. Like, the patterns don't line up until a few measures later. So it's really complex to play on its own. And then she's singing over it. Like, this is pretty mind-blowing stuff. Also, her acrylic kit is sweet. I love... Interesting, like Hannah from Got Your Expense, she doesn't have the bottom heads, so it gives them a lot more punch, not so much resonance, but more just like that punchy, quick attack, or, you know, quick release sound that doesn't get too muddy. Interesting. Never seen her kit before. Whoa. They just did that live? Like, out of nowhere? Ooh. Dang. I love those cymbal swells with like the yarn tipped mallets like the drummer in the back was doing. Just it's got a lot less, harsh stick sound that you'd get from a wood stick. I just love that swelling sound. Cool that Karen took lead on the drums there and vocals, and the drummer just kind of did percussion stuff in the background. But wow, I'm super impressed. Kind of speechless. I had no idea Karen was such a master on the drums. I just figured, yeah, she plays drums, like I play drums, where you could play drums, but there's other drummers out there that are way better than you. But she is, a top tier drummer, very modest with her drumming, but the things she just did in that short amount of time were a huge flex in the, to me as a drummer watching her play that. So anyway, okay, well, I just figured I'd do this because I was watching it anyway. I've always been fascinated by the Carpenters, because, she's the first girl drummer I ever knew of. And then learning that they played Budokan in 1974, it makes me curious how many of the drummers I've watched over the years that were inspired by Karen. So thank you so much for watching this. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I'll talk to you next time.
You can sub if you want to, if you don't, nobody will. And you can act real cool and nothing like a fool, and I can act like an imbecile.